So here we are, and we are now in the shelter after New Year's. It's a new year, and I have to get school figured out for the kids. I had to get childcare, all these things. And my job is they're working with me. They're being very, very flexible, right? Um, and so I remember there was a waiting list because we were in Shelter City. We were in Long Island City, where so many shelters were in under right underneath each other. And also, this was a time where all like the what do you call them, refugees, or like all the the immigrants from all these countries were coming to New York because New York has a law where they don't leave families out on the street. So once you're in New York, they gotta help you. So now they're helping all these immigrants, all the homeless, families, plus the citizens of New York City. And there's waiting lists for every daycare, schools. Like it was so difficult. Like the process was difficult. And so I'm trying to get my daughter into school, and that was a process. Like the other one, like, but we ended up leaving the shelter, and my 2 year old and the newborn didn't even end up getting into daycare because all the daycares were full, all of them. And so yeah, I remember, just being really down because I didn't like the shelter that we were in. I felt like it sucked. It did suck as a shelter. I remember a lady that I met at the shelter intake center. She was telling me like, "Oh, her shelter has a kitchen, like a fake kitchen, a refrigerator. Like we couldn't even have refrigerators." Like, and I was just like, "Man, why? Why did I have to get stuck with this shelter who don't even have anything in the room but two beds and a dresser and mad roaches?" And so anyway, as life went on in the shelter, I began to see God's favor. But when you're so upset with God, you don't see it at first. But then I had to like really, when I had to take a step back and I started like, going back into my mode of trying to pray again. And it was hard. It was very difficult. Certain things were noted, like popping out to me. So like once my oldest daughter started school, her school was a 10-minute walk from the shelter. And then everything else that we needed, I would say was within at least a 5 to 10 minute walk from the shelter. Now, the other shelter where the other lady was at, she had to take a bus or a train or a cab to almost everywhere she went. The shelter where I was located, everything was a 5 to 10 minute walk. Even the um the the benefits office, like where you get the benefits, the offices where we have to go for meetings all the time, 10 minutes away. The school assistance office, 10 minutes away. Grocery stores, 10 minutes away. Restaurants, 2 to 10 minutes away, depending on what you wanted to eat. And there was a different restaurant in every corner of the streets. Um, like everything was in close proximity. I didn't have to do much, go much, to do much. Um, and my job, if I needed to go, that the train to get to my job was one train, and that was a 10-minute train ride. To get to my father's house, if he wasn't able to pick me up, which was rare, the train to get there, 30-minute train ride. If I had to go to Brooklyn for any reason, 15-minute train ride, the train was right there. I started to see favor in a very unfavorable situation, you know? And then my father picked us up every weekend. So every weekend we were able to go and leave the shelter. So we really only had to stay there Monday through Thursday. Another favorable situation. Um, and then, I started working again because I did give me some time off to figure out my kids. And I couldn't work inside the shelter all day. I needed reliable internet, and the shelter did not have reliable internet. So I remember I had to work at Starbucks. So my routine was I would wake up 5:30 in the morning, get all the kids ready, get breakfast together. Now, breakfast wasn't the greatest because the food in this shelter was worse than jail food. I would most rather eat those brown bag military food than what they was feeding in that shelter. New York City shelter, you guys got to do better with the food because it was terrible. So I was not feeding my kids that. I'm sorry, I used to be a chef. My kids is used to eating very well, to having to give them hard as a rock egg egg sticks, and it was just bad. It was bad. So Yeah, it was either cereal for breakfast or canned sausage and bread. That was it, you know? And then for lunch, we would go and get, I would either give her like ravioli or ramen noodles, or, we'd probably go get like a sandwich or something or pizza. And then for dinner, we would have like either Chinese or just Jamaican restaurant. Like for dinner was endless options, but I spent so much money on food while I was there because like I just wasn't feeding my kids that nonsense. So it is what it was. But thankfully, once again, God put us in a position to where there was so much options around favor. Um, so yeah, the way how the routine worked: wake up, get them all ready, get breakfast, make the bottle for my son, feed them their breakfast and stuff, get them dressed. Now remember, it was cold. We're doing this in the middle of the winter. Whew. Anywho, I would walk my eldest daughter to school, walk 10 minutes up, and then have to come back down. So walk another 15 minutes to the Starbucks. I would literally set up my entire workstation in Starbucks. I had a dual screen. I had one kid on this side, one kid in the stroller sleeping, and I would do my first 4 hours at Starbucks. Yep, first 4 hours. Meetings, doing my work, feeding the kids, taking care of them, entertaining them while working. Then 12 o'clock would come. I would go pack everything up, go and get lunch for the kids, get back to the house, feed them their lunch, log back on, feed them while I'm working, then put them down for their nap, finish working, wake them up for their nap, walk down back to go pick up my oldest daughter from school. On the way back, get her food after school. I guess like their second lunch because kids technically eat like two lunches, right? So then we, come home. Then I have a daily meeting at the same time every time as soon as we get home. So I had to deal with that. Had meetings with clients. I would sometimes have to either go in the bathroom or put the kids in the bathroom in the shelter to have these meetings. Then when they were done, then I would have to help my eldest daughter with her homework, do projects, run to the grocery store to get groceries, if we needed to get anything, then go bathe all the kids, then go get dinner, come back, feed them dinner. Um, After I fed them their dinner, then I would go and put them down for bed and then log back on to work. Um, because I had to stop so much throughout the day that I wasn't able to complete all of my work in a normal time. So I would usually be up until 9, 10 o'clock working to finish to make sure that my work, my performance was not um, affected by my life because I could not lose my job. And I did this routine every single day for almost 5 months. It was hard. It was so hard. It was so hard. It was so hard. It was hard. It was tiring. It was it was a lot on my body, a lot on the kids' body. The weather did not make it any better. I remember there were days when it was 10, maybe 5, 10 degrees outside, and we had to walk with wind coming against us, wind, sometimes snow, and we're walking, and the kids are literally in tears, crying because of how cold it was. This shelter experience, like, I didn't think anything else could break me anymore. I mean, I think I cried so many nights just asking God, why are we here? You know? And, but once again, I just had to see the favor in everything. But in the midst of the favor, it was still one of the worst experience any family can go through. And I don't wish it upon anyone, you know? And I had to be grateful for the favor that he was giving me because I wasn't living a righteous life. I was barely even talking to him. I only spoke to him when I needed something, when I needed him to help me out in this sheltered situation. But otherwise, I wasn't talking to him. And he knew that. But he still gave me grace and mercy.